Hi, Pim. I'm madly scrambling around looking for my English-German dictionary to figure out what the heck you just said. But I think you said welcome, and I'm glad to be here. Well, Pim, it's just like you and I were saying before the broadcast started. It's always something special when the Skip Barber race cars get to race on a real Formula One racetrack, and that's what we have tonight. You know, the Hockenheimring is the site of the German Formula One Grand Prix, and man, it's a beautiful track for these skippies. Yeah, Alex Othan, I think he's finishing his first four allowed flying laps for qualification. And we're catching him at just the right time because he's coming around here to the last turn. It's a 15 turn, 2.3 mile course. And so now he's coming down the front straight to start, I believe, his second flying lap. And just crossing the start finish line now. You have this super fast turn one here. A little bit like Watkins Glen, there's a wide runoff area. You can take a few chances. Really important to maintain your speed. Then you come up to maybe the most important corner on the whole course, turn two, that launches you through this turn 2, 3, 4 complex. And today we're not doing the whole famous Parabolica curve, which is this straight right here, but in fact Parabolica gets cut short for this National A layout at Hockenheimring for this somewhat awkward hairpin, turn 6 and 7, which takes you back to turn 8. You really need to dance right on the edge with the throttle through this turn 8. And again, another super important turn, turn 9. You just need to launch with all the speed you can out of turn 9 as you approach the center stadium section. Turn 10, another super fast third gear right-hander. A little kind of carousel, turn 11. It's a hairpin, but there's a surprising amount of side-by-side action in that hairpin. And then finally, kind of a double apex carousel, turns 14 and 15. Again, another really important turn to get a great launch out for the start-finish straight. And a beautiful lap by Alex Ocon. That, yeah, isn't that something, because Pim, Ian's usually with us in the broadcast booth, but he loves these Formula One tracks, and so he really wanted to race tonight, and look at that, he's so far provisional pole position. Yep. Right behind him, Dave Pickram he's in the pits right now, but one presumes he's getting ready to try to get in another flying lap. There's still 2 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. There was a little bit of a flurry of activity around Dave Pickram. Skippy Formula 2 is restricted to drivers who have never had an I rating above 2,000. And this past week on this track, Dave Pickram actually exceeded the 2,000 I rating limit. But since he had already started the season under 2,000, he is allowed by rules to finish the season. And so he's here and provisionally P2.
Yeah, done an excellent lap. I'm curious about Jake Ashe. He's currently 11th, but everything is really close together. He is still running.
Yeah, it's looked like everyone is so far within 1.5 seconds of each other, top to bottom in this field, and so and there's still another minute. So people who uh, looks like at least Jake, Nick Matza, Joe Zubo are going to be able to finish their last laps here before the qualifying session runs out.
Yeah, because that's important. You can have 4 laps, but there's also a qualification for 10 minutes. So it's very important to make sure that you get your right timings in.
It does look like Jake improved up to P8 with a 141.36.
Yeah, we still have Alex Alton on the first position with a 142. Ian Worrell number 2nd, 143. And then Scott Allen. Nice to see him back in this Formula 2 action.
Yeah, and there's less than 0.3 of a second separating those 3 drivers.
Yeah, and then we have to drive 35 minutes with 2 pit stops. So anything can happen. This is really just a basic where you're standing in the front. And we do see that the time is over.
Wow. And so Alex Othan, who we had the fun privilege of watching one of his qualifying laps, did in fact qualify on the pole. Congrats to Alex.
Really nicely done. Last race he was also very good, very consistent. But this race again on that first position.
And then our Cav-OK Racing Network broadcasting compatriot Ian Worrell qualifying in P2. Fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastic, and it's not only our broadcaster; he's also the admin of the league. That's one of the reasons why he's now probably doing this talk with all the team members. Just to make sure that everybody knows the rules again.
And then we have Scott Allen in P3, Dave Pickram, who we just explained, has, as we put it in the Sunday Night Skippy League, transcended above the 2000 iRating mark, is in P4. Carter Stickney in P5, Rusty Pontenberg, P6, and then finally Craig Montgomery, Jake Ashe, Rich Butler, Joe Zubo, Barry Stockdale, and Nicholas Matza.
Yeah, and this is a nice group. And we do see that the lights are going on. And I don't know why I think that Ian Worrell is still in the pit.
Yeah, that's very strange. He's starting from the pits, in fact. It almost looks like that was intentional. Interesting. We'll have to see if we can catch him after the race and to find out what was going through his head on that one. But it looks like everyone got through turn 1 cleanly and through turn 2 cleanly as well, which is great.
Yeah, so we see Alex Alton, Scott Allen and David Pickram on that first one.
So
great to see him over there.
Yeah, we were talking about this hairpin. Now, I think most of the drivers, me included, don't like this hairpin at all. It's just an awkward turn, and but it looks like everyone's getting through.
Yeah, that's a miracle. Everybody's going through there quite nicely. All the way over on the back over there, do we see Nicholas Matza driving to follow the group?
It does look like Alex Othan, Scott Allen, and Dave Pickram already are pulling away as a group of 3. And then we have everyone else clumped up from Ian Worrell in P4 all the way back to Nicholas Matza in P12. But Ian Worrell and Rusty Pontenberg, Carter Stickney are just really nose to tail.
So that's our first lap already done. 35-minute race. We see Alex Alton and Scott Allen right behind him and going into that first corner.
Boy, this is off to just an incredibly clean start, don't you think, Tim? This is great.
Yeah, I was making cameras for every corner, and we don't see anything happening. Although I'm curious about here. We see Carter Stickney going to the inside. He's going to make it very difficult to Rusty, but Rusty holds it really nice. Has that inside now. But Jake Ashe right behind there as well. Jake Ashe, look at that. He's playing that draft game together with Rusty.
You know, I'm not a big fan of trying to make a pass going into turn 2 because the exit on turn 2 is so important on this track. And, you know, you just compromise your line if you try to make a pass there. And we're seeing Carter, you know, suffering from that a little bit.
Carter is suffering from that, but what do you think about Jake Ashe? Because he's on the wrong side of the line. And you clearly see now that he's missing touch with Rusty, and Carter Stickney has troubles with that as well.
Yeah.
And how did Ian Worrell come in so quickly? He's number 4th already. Oh, he slides over there. And Rusty is trying to catch up in.
It looked like Rusty had to check up a little bit there and got a little bit kind of sideways.
Yeah, definitely.
This like double apex here that gets you back on the front straight. As you saw, Ian going wide over the red sausage curbs. That's been a little bit of a dangerous curve there, and you can get a little over anxious that way. And it's an off track at best, and it can actually really slow you down for the front straight. Otherwise, at worst.
But look how clean this race is. We haven't seen much problems. We see a lot of driving. We see one big line over here.
Well, who's it's looking like, like P4 through P10. They're all together in a big draft pack. I'm trying to keep track here of the gap between Dave Pickram running in P3 with that lead pack along with Alex Olton and Scott Allen, but the gap between Dave Pickram and Ian Worrell right now is about 1.3 seconds, and just trying to keep a close eye on whether that gap widens or in fact I have that wrong. It's about 2.6 seconds, the gap between Dave Pickram in P3 and Ian Worrell in P4. And,
I think the big advantage what Dave has, he's right behind Scott Allen and can just try to follow along with him. That really helps. Scott Allen is quite quick over here. It's coming a little bit back to Alex Olton.
Yep. And then looking at Ian Worrell, he's being followed so closely by Rusty Pontenberg. Rusty is looking a little faster than Ian. It's just looking for an opportunity to pass.
Ooh, Ian was a little bit loose over there.
Oh, it's fun. I guess we have to be cheering for Ian here.
Well, we have to be cheering for everybody because it's just a really good race to see this. I really enjoy watching a clean race with a lot of tactics. And that's also why I enjoy watching with Jake Ashe, because there is also always some action going along with him. The moment he's really close by, he's really trying to stay with Rusty and with Carter in front of him.
If Jake follows form, it looks like Ian has spun out on the exit of turn 8. Hasn't hit anything, but is losing positions all the way back to P10.
Yeah, well, that was amazing from Rusty. He came in there and he just avoided, I don't know exactly how he did that, but he avoided that incident. And Jake Ashe is now running on that 4th position.
Yeah. So Rusty definitely had to check up, and so Jake's moved up. Oh, and looks like we have another issue here. Craig Montgomery seems to have had an issue in the turn 11 hairpin.
Yeah, we're looking at it right now. I do think that Joe Zubo was part of that. He had a slight touch over there.
Oh, and what I was just about to say before Ian had his...
Of course.
track issue. Jake Ashe.
Of course, we're watching something and Jake thinks, I'm gonna mess things up. I'm gonna go in. Look at this. 5 laps in, and he's already in there. Yeah, we know his trick on that one. He does that a lot.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, last race it was really successful. He had a good run. He came second just behind Alex Olton, but his pit strategy was excellent.
It was kind of fun to kind of watch all the undercut strategies play out in the Formula One race this morning also.
Oh man, yeah, that's crazy how quickly you can do that. I'm curious how many people they have sitting over there, calculating all those overcuts, undercuts, and what to do. And in the end, Lewis Hamilton wins. Too bad.
Well, I think even Lewis would admit he didn't deserve that win. It was just such incredibly bad luck with that rainstorm coming right when it did, and Lando basically just not having any he can't buy his way into luck at all. Boy.
No, and but he was he did a really good fun race, and I think that's important for those things.
Yep.
We're still looking here at Carter Stickney and Rusty Pontenberg, 2 old-timers for this Formula 2 race. Having a nice fight.
Absolutely.
I do see that David Pickram has passed Scott Allen. I missed that one.
Yeah. So Alex Othon is driving just serenely in the lead. He has more than a 1.5 second lead over Dave Pickram and Scott Allen. And then, Scott Allen is 5 seconds clear of Carter Stickney and Rusty Pontenberg. So things are getting a little bit spread out. Although we do have this group of 3 in P7, 8, 9, Ian Worrell, Rich Butler, and Barry Stockdale, all grouped up together.
Yeah, and that's a nice part, because Rich Butler is here on that outside. It's difficult. You're in the inside, but that corner goes the other way, and you do miss... we have an interesting fight coming over here. Rich Butler is making a small mistake, and Barry Stockdale thought he was going to take advantage of that. Goes on the outside. Oh! Very close, very close. And he's now on that back. Where is now a good position for him to overtake Peter?
Yeah.
Oh, just right here. Just right here. Look at this.
And this is what we're talking about. Right here, coming out of 10 and then into 11. It's surprising the amount of side-by-side action that you get there. But it looks like Barry's going to try to take it a little bit cautiously there. But especially in the Skippy Formula 1 race that we'll see later, trust me, you'll see some side-by-side skippies through hairpin there.
I'm always a little bit afraid. Last time my CPU was not that well doing 40 skippies on the road. Nice to see Carter Stickney and Rusty Pontenberg still going after it.
Yeah. They might think about trying to work together. I know they've been battling. I wonder if they are leapfrogging now with Carter and Rusty. But they've now lost about a 5-second gap to the Alex Othon, Dave Pickram, Scott Allen leading trio, and there are some pretty long straights here, and so with as drafty as these Skip Barber cars are, they might want to try to work together to try to see if they can make their way up.
I'm surprised how big the field is already spread, I have to say.
Yeah.
We're looking here at Jake Ashe, 19 seconds behind Craig Montgomery, but he is the one that's already been pitted, unlike everybody else. So I'm curious where he's going to end up when the first people are going to go into the pit.
Yeah, just for those viewers that aren't familiar with the race format for Skippy Formula 2, these are 35-minute timed races, but fuel is restricted, which usually means you need 2 pit stops for refueling. And so out of these drivers, Jake Ashe is the only one who's made a stop for fuel. the fuel window actually opens really early, within the first 3 to 5 minutes. And so Jake traditionally is always the first person to partake of a fuel
Yeah, but we
fill-up.
do have a second person right in now. Barry Scottdale is going in, so he's getting out of the fight, tries to go for fresh air.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And so Jake Ashe then is coming across the start-finish line and will regain his lead over Barry Stockdale. You know,
How's it with
meanwhile, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, how's it with the fight of Carter Stickney and Rusty Ponteberg?
Yeah. Well, you were reading my mind, Pim. All that.
Hey Peter, maybe we do this too often, that we get really into it. I thought it was...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice nice fight over here. I like how clean they are.
They've made up about a second of the gap to Scott Allen. And so, you know, that Carter Stickney, Rusty Pontenberg, you know, whether they're fighting or working together, they are making up time to Scott Allen.
There we see Joe Zubo right behind them, and behind them is Ian Worrell. Oh, and we do see going into the pit. Look at that. We see Carter Stickney and Rusty Ponteberg, and Alex Alton was in there as well.
And Dave Pickram. And so that leaves Scott Allen out in P1. But our race leader, Alex Othon, followed by Dave Pickram, are in for their first refueling stops.
Yeah, so we see them all coming in right here. I don't see any big mistakes. People put their brakes on.
Yep.
But it is Alex Alton who's out first.
Yep. And then Dave Pickram is coming out behind, but it does look like Alex had a little bit of a better pit stop. And so that leaves only Scott Allen and Craig Montgomery, who have yet to make their first refueling stops. And so they are running in P1 and P2 for the time being.
And look how Carter Stickney and Rusty Ponteberg get out of the pit stop. Similar as how they get in.
Yep. And boy, the undercut for Jake Ashe really worked, because Jake is now running out of the drivers who have made one pit stop. Jake is running in P3. That is that is impressive. It really shows you, Pim, that the undercut can just really work if you do it right.
I'm curious if there's any Formula 1 guys watching, because this is valuable information. Jake is really bringing it to the test, but this time it works really hard.
Yeah. You know, Pim, I've tried this undercut strategy a couple of times, and it's harder than it looks. It's not just a matter of getting into the pits. Oh, and it looks like Scott Allen now is in the pits for his first refueling. But, you know, when you come in early the way that Jake does, it makes it really important that you get enough fuel on your second stop. Yeah, there's less room for error on your second stop. And in fact, the last time I tried an undercut the way Jake, it looks like Craig Montgomery now is also in for his first stop. So now that means all drivers have refueled. But, you know, I miscalculated, and I ended up being about half a lap short of fuel after my second stop. And, you know, it's just something that it's an extra risk that you take, because you know, you're having to go longer basically on your third stint out on track.
No, definitely. We see Alex Alton driving really fast currently. 3 seconds ahead of David Pickram. And then Jake Ashe on that third position, 2.7 seconds behind Dave. But Alex is a little bit lonely on the top. We saw that last season, but then he still had his teammate running with him. But currently he's making it to the distance.
Yep. And then Carter Stickney, Rusty Pontenberg are really making up ground to Scott Allen. They are now only 1 second behind Scott Allen. And so I think this time around they might be, Carter and Rusty might catch Scott Allen's draft. We have a pretty interesting group also running P10, 11, 12. Rich Butler, Nicholas Matza, and Craig Montgomery that are also all nose to tail.
Yeah, I think that's the best part of being in the Sunday Night Skippy League, is that you always find someone who you can battle with. And here we see that clearly with Rich Butler and Nicholas Matzak and Craig Montgomery. Very close driving. Yes, it is for position 10, but still you have a really fun race.
Oh, it's fantastic, and there's still another, pit stop, and we're already seeing how that can really shake things up, and so anything's possible.
Yeah, I'm curious what Rusty Punterberg is doing. Yeah, I know we're gonna go to Rusty Punterberg because he's there driving.
My mind again, Tim.
Exactly. Yeah, I knew you were doing that. Because we do see now that Scott Allen has Carter Stickney and Rusty Punterberg right in his back.
Yep, Carter and Rusty have definitely caught Scott's draft. They're less than half a second behind Scott. And, one of the things that we talk about, and there are some SF1 drivers like Pete Mulbrodden that are legendary for this. Someone in Rusty's position that's just been in the draft for the whole race, is saving fuel. And, that can mean that his second fuel stop might be a second or two shorter than the other drivers, which could really make the difference.
Yeah, I do think that the truth between Carter Stickney and Rusty Punterberg is over. I saw that Rusty was looking a little bit ahead. And I think it's possible that he thinks, okay, now we had enough, we're with the three of us. Let's overtake here on that long straight. Because it is a long straight and you can gain a lot of extra.
Yep.
Look at this, how close he is over there.
Yeah, again, Rusty's just looking faster on track, and it's. I think he's showing a lot of patience.
Yeah, he's showing a lot of patience, but also he should do something. He's losing them again. He's 5/10 behind Carter. That was a nice opportunity, but I do see that the other guys are making a different line, which gives him an awesome opportunity to get back to Rusty, to Carter.
I just saw in turn 2, Joe Zubo had a spin. I think he was really being pressured by Ian Worrell, and Joe had a spin. He didn't hit anything, so he's back on track, but he's lost a position to Ian Worrell. So now Joe is running in P8, and Ian Worrell has taken P7.
Yeah, we did had a quick look at that. I do think that Ian Worrell was a little bit involved in that. Had a slight touch-up on the back.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell if there was contact there or not.
Well, luckily I'm no steward, so I don't have to judge on that. I only like to watch awesome racing. And currently we do see that with Alex Alton completely in that front. He's not really driving much further away from Dave Pickram, but he doesn't need to. It's 3 seconds ahead. And Jake Ashe right behind there is 4 seconds.
Yep. And then we have this tight battle for P4 between Scott Allen, Carter Stickney, and Rusty Punterberg. That basically less than a second separating them.
And look at this, Carter is looking inside of them. He is there. But then this corner is too quick, it's too much risk to go on the inside. You can't do that. But I am curious in the Formula 1 race in this corner, there's going to be a lot of overtakes.
Yeah, and it's a tough thing though, because the exit there is so important. So if you do attempt an overtake there, you really have to do it right to make it stick. I can't wait to see what the SF1 guys do there.
Oh yeah, Rusty is going a little bit on the outside, not touching everybody, and that's the good part of being on that third position. You can make a mistake, come back to Carter. They're driving really nicely up here with Scott Allen. He's leading them. Is he going to come back to Jake Ashe? Currently it's 2.7 seconds is the deficit, but I'm not sure.
So the pit window is open for all these drivers for their second fuel stops, but the one who's been out there the most, of course, is Jake Gaucher. And so it wouldn't be surprising to see Jake come into the pits within the next couple of laps for his last.
All right, Peter, I don't want to call this a Sunday Night Skippy broadcast booth, because that's only done by Chris Smorl. But that was a well done suggestion, because Jake immediately comes in, and Dave Pickram is also in the pit stop right in front of him. Right. So if Jake is a little bit quick, then he can drive along with Dave Pickram. I'm curious how these guys are going out.
Will be very interesting. And it looks like Dave has been released from his pit box, and so he'll maintain his position over Jake Gaucher.
Yeah, that was a little bit longer, and I do suspect that Jake was a little bit low on gas, because he had to wait quite a bit of time over there.
Boy, I'm looking back at this Scott Allen, Carter Stickney, Rusty Pontenberg battle, and Carter was side by side through the turn 6-7 hairpin with Scott, but Scott has managed to maintain his position. Now Scott, Carter, and Rusty are now running P2, 3, 4 because of the pit stop by Dave Pickram and Jake Gaucher.
And they do a really good job, I have to say, driving so close. It looks like Rusty has glue on Carter Stickney. He can't get rid of him. But then Carter Stickney is in the back of Scott Allen.
Yep. You know, Pim, you and I have been driving GT3 cars. Oh, it looks like Carter Stickney is now taking his pit stop. Very interesting. Alex Othon also in the pit lane. So we'll want to watch carefully where Alex comes out to see if he comes out ahead of Dave Pickram and Jake Gaucher. Joe Zubo, Rich Butler, also in the pit lane.
Yeah, he's already gone. Alex is already done.
Boy, that was a quick splash and go, as they say.
And just to have a look at it, we're still looking here, and Jake Gaucher goes in again. Jake Gaucher goes in again, so there was something wrong in that one.
Wow. And this is exactly what we were talking about, Tim. You know, when you do these undercuts, it's risky, you know, especially on a little bit of a longer track like this. You can easily underestimate, be off by, half a lap or so on the amount of fuel you need.
Yeah, I think this was something else. I do think that he had a black flag or anything in that particular part.
Yeah. Some kind of penalty. Oh, that's really too bad.
Well, what do you think about Rusty? Rusty Pontenberg is now really close to Scott Allen. We do know that he has to go in yet, but he can take advantage of this because it looks like he's a little bit quicker.
Yeah. Yep. Well, and I think with Jake's penalty, that now moves Carter Stickney up to P3 amongst the drivers who have completed their fuel stops. And so, just to recap, everyone has completed their second fuel stop except for Rusty Pontenberg, Scott Allen, Nicholas Matza, and Craig Montgomery. Barry Stockdale hasn't either, but he's in the pit lane, and Ian Worrell is also in the pit lane for his second stop.
Yeah, so that means we're done with pit stops, and we can really now look at this. Or Scott Allen, he needs to go in.
Yeah, Scott Allen still needs to go, as well as Rusty Pontenberg.
Ooh, a nice fight over here for that first position. You look at this. Rusty giving it all.
Yeah.
And Scott is defending hard, but in a fair way, I have to say. Impressive of him driving along here. I know how difficult it is to look in your mirror, and especially when you have Rusty over there, who's so close.
Boy, that is a lot of pressure for sure. You know, Pim, you and I talk about this every broadcast. We'd much rather be Rusty than Scott in these situations.
Yeah, but I do have to say that Scott also, with that many laps, I think it shows something about him. It shows something about that he can do this. Maybe it also should give him some trust.
Yep. And they're still staying out. Neither one pitting.
Rusty is really using that exit over there.
You know, we'll probably talk about this more in the SF1 broadcast, but, you know, I was reading up a lot about the design of this track and the fact that a lot of the Formula One drivers, the real Formula One drivers, not the Skippy Formula One drivers, that they aren't big fans of this track. And I can kind of understand it, because some of the prime passing zones, you know, in order to use them as passing zones, end up compromising your exits, and so it'll be interesting to see how this goes when we have the big SF1 field.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be crazy.
Looks like Nicholas Mazza is in for his second fuel stop, and that seems to have gone smoothly.
Yeah, we're looking along here with Barry Stockdale and Joe Zubo that are really close within in range over here. See that Joe misses his apex over there, but still is maintaining his lead position. Although he needs to defend really hard up here.
Yeah. So 6 minutes left. I think we probably have 4, maybe 5 laps to go in this race.
So isn't it time for Scott Allen and Rusty Pontenberg to get in?
It seems like they would need to. They can.
Well, look at this. Look at this. I can do that trick too. Yeah. They're actually going in. So I do have to say, when we were talking about the curse, I don't think we can do that as well as Chris. It was good to see Chris today back on the field in the BRL race.
Yes, it was, and then I'm seeing Craig Montgomery is also in the pit lane. So then that will be everyone who will have completed their fuel.
All right, Peter, you're better in this. The car of Alex Olton. I see a flag in there, but I'm not sure. Last time I thought Morocco, and I looked it up, and it's not Morocco. Which country is that flag?
Yeah, let me get a close look at that. Is that the state of California?
Oh, aha. Okay, just make fun of the foreigner. Yeah, that could be right.
Interesting. Well, we've been thinking a lot about flags because of our own GT3 team. You know, with you from the Netherlands, me from the USA, and Rafa Bofil from Chile. So we think a lot about flags.
I always think about flags, and hey, we see Dave Prickram being proud of his Canada, driving those colors over there. I love that paint. Really sticks out.
Yep. Actually, in Sunday Night Skippy, you can see this in the Discord. I think everyone is upping their paint game.
Oh yeah, and if we talk about upping the race game of the painting jobs, let's have a quick look what Jake is doing. Jake Ashe always has the latest things to do on the cars. Helps a lot of people out with quick videos.
Oh, Jake is a wizard, and that's a beautiful, beautiful paint job that he has there.
It looks like something went wrong in the paint shop actually. Splat everywhere, but awesome how he has that.
Looks like Scott Allen has had a wreck in turn 8.
No!
Now in a tow.
Oh, we were talking too much. Didn't pay attention on him, and I see that he's going rough over there.
Yeah.
It looks like he just parks it. We have to ask for that in the Discord. What exactly happened with him?
Yep. Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened there. That's strange, but he did reset to the pits. So anyway, with just under 3 minutes left, we have Alex Othon, Dave Pickram, Carter Stickney in P1, 2, and 3. Rusty Pottenberg is chasing down Carter Stickney in P4, and that's followed by Ian Worrell, Barry Stockdale, Joe Zubo, Rich Butler, Craig Montgomery, Nicholas Matza, Jake Ashe, who had to serve a penalty, and we'll have to sort out what that was about, but it must have been a pit lane violation of some sort. And then Scott Allen, who, as you just pointed out, has reset to the pits.
Yeah, and I don't think he's coming out, so that looks like it's over. And that means basically that we know our top 3 if nothing goes wrong. You see Alex Alton really driving, although Dave Pickram is picking up. Could you have a quick look at his times? Because it looks like here, look at this, a 1:39.3. That's the quickest time so far. He is really catching up on Alex. I think it's too late, but it would be nice if he can catch up over there.
Made it more than half a second on Alex that last lap, which is pretty impressive. But I think this next time around, in fact, I'm pretty sure this next time around the start-finish line, they'll be starting their white flag lap. And so it might be too little too late for Dave.
Well, we do see here in the back, we saw Greg Montgomery pass Nicholas Matza. Not sure what that exactly happened, but...
And then just ahead of them, Rich Butler is still chasing down Joe Zubo. That's been a battle for the whole second half of the race.
Yeah, can they come back to Barry Stockdale, or is that too far for Joe Zubo?
Yeah, I think they're going to need some help from Barry. As long as Barry stays steady there, because he's a good second and a half up on Joe Zubo and Rich Butler. Meanwhile, Alex Othon in the lead has just crossed the start-finish line, and this will be the last lap of the race.
Yeah, look at it. He gives it all, uses that exit really well. It's always nice when you know there's 2.7 seconds gap. You can take it a little bit more easier in that last lap. Just make sure that you're safe.
I always find here this hairpin, this turn 6-7 hairpin, it's a little bit treacherous. And so I'm sure he'll take it a little bit easy here. It looks like he's taking it wide, safely around, making his way back into the stadium.
Yeah, and right behind him is David Pickram.
Meanwhile, back this Carter Stickney Rusty Pottenberg battle. This is do or die for Rusty Pottenberg.
Well, you can see that he jumped that exit, but he's really close in there. I don't want to miss Alex Alton, but this is an interesting fight. Let's have a quick look. We see that Alex is in the last corners. Oh, come on, Rich. He gives it all, and Joe knows what to do, knows how to defend these lines. We see David, and there we see that Alex Alton comes over the line, celebrates like a true Formula 1 driver. Look at that. And right behind him is David Pickram, and then we see the fight with Carter Stickney and Rusty Pottenberg for the third position. But I don't think Rusty can handle that, or can he? It's really close. But that was Carter Stickney on the third position. Congratulations for him. Rusty Pottenberg on the fourth position. And then we have Ian Wall coming in. Joe Zubo had this fight with Rich Butler, but also that is not... Yeah, it's not. It is finished, but is Rich Butler didn't came any closer. There we see Craig Montgomery, Nicholas Matza. And look at that, Jake's still driving along.
Yeah.
But
And,
yeah, a 40 penalty stop, that's not fun. And here on the back we see Barry Scottdale. And that is our last driver, because we have Scott Allen, who had to stop the race. I'm really curious what exactly happened.
Yep.
Because he was
And,
just parking
I'm
it.
just watching. It's looking like some of the SF2 drivers are forming up for their traditional parade lap, which is just always nice to see.
Oh, who do I have to follow in that sense?
Look at Carter and Rusty.
Oh, I always like to see that. I don't think the first persons always have it, but that was always one of my fun things to do here.
Oh, it's just great, the camaraderie. Yeah, these guys, they're fighting like crazy for the whole lap, and then yeah, they have a really
for a whole lap, for a whole race, for a whole race, for a whole season. Rusty and Carter have done this for how many seasons now? 3, 4. It's awesome to see this this kind of fight. Let's have a quick look at the results. See if they're already in. Don't see them yet. Yes, here we see them. Alex Alton is the winner again. Now his second in a row, but Dave Pickram did a really nice job here on the second position. The last race he was a bit uncomfortable with some of the driving and the pit stop, but he's recovered quite well on that second position. Really nice. And I do want to have a quick look at our group up here. Let's see if we can catch them from the blimp. Alright, Peter, so this was the first race.
Yeah.
What do you expect from the second race?
You know, it looked to me like passing was pretty hard. So I think qualifying is going to be super important. And, you know, maybe, you know, the track is pretty long, but it's pretty fast. So with the difficulty of passing, I wonder a little bit about how blue flags are going to go.
No. And we're going to talk about blue flags, Peter, again. All right, this is going to be fun. Well, before we go there, I need some water. I need some quiet time before the hectic race will start. We will be back in 15 minutes. Guten Morgen, Rennenfans und willkommen in KVK Racing Network. Wir sind heute in Reitental in Baden-Württemberg, wo wir sind ein Rennenseher werden. Mein Name ist Pim Lutt und mein Co-Kommentator ist Peter Lee. Peter, wie geht's dir?
Danke, Pim. Thank you. I'm doing great.
We just want to make that joke again. My microphone wasn't on the first time. We want to make sure that we got this one in. So we're back up here. What do we expect?
Well, we have a big field, 35 cars, on a cool track, only 68-degree Fahrenheit track. I think we're going to see blazing speed and very, very busy side-by-side action in a lot of parts of this track.
Yeah, we saw already some nice fights in our SF2 race, and we also have a new broadcaster up here. Ian, welcome. How was your race?
Best not to talk about my race.
Ian, you're being modest. You had a great P5 finish. You drove a great race.
It was better than it should have been, I think. I was not happy with it. I think I missed the start because I was trying to do all of the broadcasting, sort of the setup part. So I started from the pits, and that kind of twisted everything up a little bit. But yeah, I do like running this track. It's a fun track to run. There's lots of places where, you know, if you're willing to be a little bit bold, you can pick up quite a bit of time. But if you get it wrong, it's good night.
Yeah, you know, Ian, Pim and I were talking about that during the SF2 race. You know, it's always kind of a special treat when in these Skip Barber cars we get to race on a real Formula One track. And, you know, this is the site of the Formula One German Grand Prix. It's on a shortened layout. You know, the famed Parabolica curve is shortened down a bit, and so it's about a kilometer shorter, but it makes it just perfect for the skippies, don't you think?
I think it makes it a lot better. I think when the tracks are too long, you have these massive. It becomes just a draft fest. You know, you have these huge, areas where you can just draft down behind the people, right. And I don't think that makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey Pim, you know, Leo Okra is just coming around, about to start his second flying qualification lap. Maybe it's worth riding with him for his second quality lap to see what it's all about.
Yeah, let's do that. And you already told us a little bit about Formula 2, so maybe it's good to show us the difference. What is Leo doing better? Why is he getting these really quick times?
Yeah, so he's just started, just crossed the start-finish line, coming into turn one, and you know, if you just notice there, he hardly lifts at all. He's just carrying so much speed through turn one, which is incredibly important. Turn two, I still think, is the most important turn on this track because it is the place where exit speed onto the Parabolica just matters like crazy. We're going to watch to see if people are attempt passing in turn two. You know, it comes at a huge cost because this long straight that Leo's on right now can get really compromised. This is where now this short National A version gets cut off with this turn 6-7 hairpin, which I think most drivers are not liking too much. It's feeling a little awkward. But this takes you into turn 8 and 9. Turn 9 is another super important one where you just want to carry as much speed as possible as you come down to turn 10 to re-enter the stadium section of this course. Turn 11 is a hairpin, but you know, we tend to see a surprising amount of side-by-side action and a surprising number of passing attempts in that turn 11 hairpin. And then one of the hardest technical sections here is a double apex, turn 14 and now turn 15. And it's super important to get a great exit out of turn 15 for this fast front straight.
Yeah. I think with turn 14 and 15, if you get the entry right, you can actually just treat the whole thing as a single curve. And you're basically, if you look at turn 14, you'll see that there's a painted line just across the track. and you can basically just be full throttle from that line all the way down until you hit that right-hander in turn 1, where you have to just do a little lift to allow the car to rotate to be able to get you through that point.
Ian, how does that go for you? Because I know when I drive this track in that turn 14, 15 complex, I am white knuckle just worrying about that big red sausage curb. Is that true for you too, or how do you navigate that?
To be honest with you, I haven't had a problem with it. I've taken a slightly different approach as we watch Leo coming around. Where is he now?
Turn 9?
He's on turn 9, so he's got a ways to go before he gets there. But if you watch, as he comes up here, he's going to dance to the inside. There's a little lift you do. You hit the curb, allow the car to run out wide. You're full throttle all the way through here in 4th gear, slam on the brakes, go down into 2nd, and then that banking, that corner's actually quite banked in the inside, so you can run the car back out wide. And now as you come up here, you'll see he runs a bit wide, then he does a little tap on the brakes, rotates the car. There's that white, that painted line, and you just let the car run. What I'm doing when I'm coming into that corner is I'm actually looking at the apex on the inside of the 2nd part of the corner. So just above those red tire, if you look in the background, you might be able to see if you're still Leo.
By the way, just want to interject that Leo, just that lap we were watching was a 138.16, which is pretty incredible, especially on cold tires. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I look at that, the 2nd apex on the inside. I want to get my front right tire on that red, blue and white stripe rumble strip and just onto the green. And then as soon as I've seen where that is, I've got myself aimed, I start looking at the DRS sign, which is where my run out is on the left-hand side. And all of that's just flat out all the way through there. Or I crash.
Right.
So guys, we have one more minute to go. Maybe it's to have a quick look. Why are we racing? What are we doing it for? I think the prizes of last season has been delivered, and we see them now in front of our on our screen. Some beautiful prizes. Peter Broughton was our race champion. But Peter, how is it for this season? What is the update that we have?
Yeah, well, this is the 2nd race of the season. You know, we started off at Lime Rock Park last week with Jeffrey Decker taking the win ahead of Pete Broughton and Adam Wright. And, you know, I think, you know, it's still very early. This is just race number 2. And as we're seeing, you know, it's pretty bunched up at the front. But if you had to put money on someone this early, I think you'd have to put your money on Jeffrey Decker, last week's race winner and qualifying in P2 this week.
And Max de Guacamo is up in P3, which is quite a surprise. He's right up there.
Yeah, super good time. You know, and all of these guys on warm tires were running in the 137s, and they're qualifying in the low 138s, which is super impressive.
Yeah, and we see Chris Herrera is back on 5th position from running empty. Nice to see him over there.
Oh, you know, and Chris finished in 4th position last week at Lime Rock Park. And one of the things that's happening in Sunday Night Skippy this season is a real emphasis on teams. And so there are teams of 2. In fact, there are 14 or 15 teams of 2. And California Racing with Chris Herrera and Jeffrey Decker is so far in the team standings in the lead after race number 1.
Yeah, very well done. We have Scott Bell on position number 13. He's just 5/10 away from Leo, and we all know how quick he is. It's great to see how close this whole pack is. I see Alan Paris on position number 21. Good to have him there.
Yeah, do we have any Scott Bell fans in the house? Anybody from? There are usually a few people for cheering him on.
Oh yeah,
watching the Twitch stream.
Yeah, he has a major crowd for him. Have you ever seen his gear, his rig?
No.
Oh man, that's an amazing. It's like moving and everything. He has a well done over there.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking at the qualifying times. The top 19 are covered by less than 1 second, and the top 22nd and 27 drivers are covered by less than 1.5 seconds.
Good
Boy,
Lord. This is
talk
going to
about
be a hell of a race. This is going to
yeah.
be a heck of a race. Now, the other thing we're going to have to deal with, because it is a shortish track, is blue flag racing, where the front runners are catching up with the back markers and trying to pass them. And this is not the easiest track to pass on.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. With 36 cars on the grid, P1 is starting well ahead of P36. And so you're spotting the top qualifiers, a huge head start. And then on top of that, we're going to go for a full 45 minutes, 2 pit stops. So you're right. I think part of the racecraft here is going to be managing traffic.
Yeah. You want and managing a pit stop. So you've got to not just think about when do I pit, but how do I manage the overcut, undercut, and where am I going to come out when I come out of the pits?
Right. In your SF2 race, Ian, Jake Ashe, uh, he unfortunately had a pit speed lane violation, but he did an amazing undercut that kind of launched him into podium position until he had his penalty. And so it'll be interesting to see if we see similar kinds of pit strategies in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're all gridding up now, so we should soon be underway. We're just waiting for the lights to come up. And as I say that, here they come. Lights are on. And away we go.
I'm always nervous for T1, but it's T2 and the turn 6 and 7 hairpin that are actually pretty tricky on cold tire.
Yeah. Leo leads them away all the way down to T2 already. Chris Herrera's looking at the inside of Adam Wright and passing and looking like he's going to take a position there.
Yeah.
Making Adam Wright go a bit wide, but then of course he's on the outside going around turn 3, sorry.
Looks like everyone
manages to hold it.
Everyone is through turns 2 and 3 cleanly, and now this is a pretty dangerous zone here on cold tires. This 6,
Chris
7.
Herrera loses it.
Yep.
And
looks like he took Adam Wright out with him.
He hit Steve Dewar. No, he hit Adam Wright. Yep, and took out Adam Wright. Adam's able to keep going.
Yeah.
Albeit a bit further down the pack now. I think Chris was being a little bit over-eager there, going into that corner with the cold tires.
Yeah, boy, that turn 6, 7 hairpin. I don't know about you, Ian. It never feels right to me.
No, it's difficult until you get your tires up to temp. It's really hard to manage. I see Steve Dewar is out. Why is Steve Dewar out? Let's see what happened to him. I'm not getting any indication.
He's on the track. He's running in P22 right now.
Oh, my system is telling me he's out. That's so weird. I think someone was telling me last week that I give spurious information because this thing's not right.
You're hallucinating, Ian.
Well, on the moment we do see that Leo is on the front and Jeffrey Decker is right behind him. But you're right, Max, I have to say his name right. Guys, help me.
Guacamo.
All right, that's his name. I'm just going to call him. I like Max anyway.
Yes.
He's on that third position and he's losing a little bit of over there.
Well, Leo just did a 144.4. And Jeffrey's in the 144.7s, and Max is almost a full second slower, 145.6.
Yeah, although they're all still within each other's draft, and I'm sure Leo and Jeffrey are going to try to lose everyone, but it'll be interesting to see if they have any success. Right now, Jeffrey is still less than 1 second ahead of Max DiGiacomo. Oh, it looks like Carl Dronke has had an issue in turn 10.
Seemed to make himself back onto the track, so he saved the car. I don't think he actually hit anything.
Right. Yeah, it looks like he just overcooked it a little bit into turn 10. But as you say, no contact, so he's no worse for wear.
Actually, that was a really weird accident. I'm just going to go and look at it myself and see if I can report back a little bit more information.
Yeah, and while you do that, we look here at Pete Broughton and Spencer Clark. Spencer Clark is really close up him, and I do say that Pete Broughton on that 8th position, I was expecting a little bit more from him.
Yeah, it's interesting. Although, as we were saying, these top 19 were covered by less than a second, and the top 10 were covered by less than half a second. And so,
yeah, while you say that, sorry, but Mike Bowers is past Max, and Paul Buckler is also looking in there. They're making a lot of moves over there. It's interesting to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Scott Bell, we mentioned his name. He's up to P10. Coming up 3 places.
Yeah, he's made some moves. Sean Ross is up to P15, up 5 places.
But it's amazing to see everybody is still more or less on the same driving in the same sector.
Yeah.
As we run lap 3 of and basically 5 minutes of our 45-minute race, everybody's still running in the same sector. I think that's quite incredible.
It is incredible. The only exceptions are Jonathan Dockery and Nate Struhls, who I believe had drive-through penalties to start this race, and so that would explain why they're a little further back. But you're right, Ian, everyone else is still basically just one big bunch of 34 Gippies.
Yeah, 36.
I just turned up the track map, and you just see one big line with Leo on the front, but basically everything else is to go for.
Yeah, I don't think this race is, I don't think anybody's walking away with this by any stretch of the imagination.
It looked like Paul Batchelor in P5 is trying to make a move on the outside of turn 6 on Max Giacomo. And, they are side by side coming out of turn 7.
Gets the place.
Wow, what a move.
Like I was saying, this is not an easy track to pass on. You have to, it's nearly all passing under braking that you have to do. The draft is not, the straights are not long enough for you to just be able to draft past somebody. Yeah. So even if you get into the straight, right up on their gearbox, there's no guarantee that by the end of the straight you'll be past them, So it really is overtaking under braking is the only way to get past somebody.
This reminds me, before the broadcast, I was reading up a little bit about this track, and the famous track designer Herman Telke, of course, did the redesign of this track, and I was surprised to see how unpopular Herman Telke tracks are with with Formula One drivers. And one of the reasons, as we come up, to turn 2 here, is, prime passing zones are also places where you can't afford to compromise your exits. And turn 2 is a perfect example of that.
Yeah. As you see, DeGuacamo and Batchelor still fighting away. Max is trying to get that position back as he jumps onto the inside, going into the... locks up just a little bit, but manages to
McLeod is just lurking behind, waiting for a chance to take advantage.
Yeah.
And then right behind them, is Peter Nodwell, Pete Broughton, Spencer Clark, and Scott Bell, who are just in a knife fight of their own.
Yes. Oh, it's everything's all, and again, it's difficult because everybody's so close together, As I see Pete do a quick pull out to see if he can get past. Still firmly attached to the back of Peter Nodwell's car.
Oh,
It's the Pete show.
yeah. Well, and I'm looking also at this battle for P15, which I think has 11 cars, led by JR Hoops, currently P15. But then Sean Ross, Benjamin Harris, Gurkan Demir, Matt Shupka, Alan Paris, Steve Durer, Chris Herrera, Jeff Torbeck, Gregor Klingman, Jason Burkheimer, Brian Perez. This is a scary group of racers all vying to take over JR Hoops' P15.
Oh yeah, and you can starting to see a couple of groups form now. You've got sort of the front few. How many we got there? We got probably P1, 2, and 3 are starting to gap away.
Right.
In there, yeah. Gap away from Paul Batchelor, Max de Guacamo, Michael McLeod. We've got a little gap away from Pete Nodwell, Pete McBrodden, who.
Oh, it looks like Pete
Well,
McBride.
Pete McBride.
Someone has had an issue here.
Yeah, Pete had a crash with Spencer Clark. They were getting really close.
Pete goes into the corner and just outbrakes himself, taps the back of Spencer's car. Spencer slides out. I don't know why Spencer towed, but he did. He hit the tow button.
I think it's the other way around. Isn't it Pete that towed?
Was it Pete that towed? Yep.
Yep.
And Spencer was able to stay going. So that's going to change the front again.
Boy, yeah, it looked like nose-to-tail contact with Spencer Clark and Pete McBrodden. And that is going to have significant consequences for overall season standings. We're still only in race number 2 of 12 for the season, so
Absolutely.
a lot more
Yeah.
to go.
I'm sure Leo is looking for a much better result than his last one, where he led an awful lot of the race and then ended up, where was he, like P12?
Yep.
So I'm sure he's looking for a much better result today, as we run 10 minutes of 45. Everything's settled down. We've still got all the cars more or less on the same sector, which again I think is quite phenomenal.
Hey guys, we see Max taking another position with Paul. It's really, they keep on fighting, and you see Michael McLeod is just waiting for his turn up there. I'm curious when he's gonna get involved.
Yeah. It looks to me, Pim, like Michael is just being patient, basically waiting for something to happen between Max DiGiacomo and Paul Batchelor.
Well, last season Michael McLeod was also number 4 up here. He had a really good time. I think he knows this track. It suits him. I'm really curious how far he can come up here.
And of course, the other thing we've got to start to talk about now is pit strategy, because by lap 9, most of these cars are going to be wanting to pit somewhere around there. We're running lap 7 right now.
Yeah, the window's probably open now, wouldn't you think, Ian?
I would think so, although I don't know. I mean, it's probably a Jake Ashe pit stop at the moment.
Oh, don't worry. Jake is already into the pit. Jake is already done. But I'm curious about Jeffrey, because Jeffrey Decker is driving on that second position, and he has not done much more than needed. So he will have saved a little bit more fuel than Leo has. And then Mike Bowers right behind there. Yeah, he knows what he needs to do. Just hold on over here and have a great position, because they're running away from the rest.
Oh, they absolutely are. I mean, Mike Bowers is up 3 places, to P3 from P6. And he's really going to be taking advantage of those other 2 cars in front of him punching that hole in the air. So yeah, he will both he and Jeffrey will be fuel saving.
And while I say that, we do see that Michael McLeod was making an action, was on that lead, and then slips out himself. Luckily, no one involved. But that means that Peter Notwell has taken the lead over here.
And I've got a notification that Max de Guacamo crashed. Is that correct?
No, I'm not sure which race you're watching, but Max is all okay over here.
Oh, no, he locked up, had a little spin. Yep, he did. He had a crash. He hit both Peter Nodwell and Paul Batchelor, I think.
Yeah. So he's down to P6 now.
Yep. Yep. He had a little crash.
Yep. And Michael McLeod is now in a new group of 5 cars vying for P8 ahead of Scott Bell. Looks like he just got passed by Scott Bell.
Yeah, because he went into the pit.
Yeah, Jack Moffat's now in the pit. Yep.
As Mike Bowers sets down the fastest lap of the race with 1:37.553. Following these other two, they're running lap 8. So we'll see how this all runs out. But yeah.
We still have this crazy close battle now for P11. You know, currently Gurkan Demir is running in P11, but just hot on his tail are Sean Ross, J.R. Hoops, Benjamin Harris, Matt Chupka, Chris Herrera, Alan Paris, Jeff Torbeck, Gregor Klingman, Steve Doerr. It's a crazy fast, tight.
And look at this, Chris Herrera is going to make a move up here, catching up with Matt Zapka.
And looks like Leo has hit the pits. Is that right?
Nope.
Nope.
Leo is
he's still going.
Leo is still going, and Jeffrey Decker right behind him. I do think that when Leo goes, Jeffrey will have a look as well.
Yeah, yeah. Although if you were Jeffrey, wouldn't you just jump before Leo and try and see if you can go into the pits and do a bit of an undercut?
Yeah, you would think so.
Because as Leo jumps into the pits and Jeffrey cannot get in, he went too wide. So Leo is going for an overcut.
Yes.
So let's see how that goes.
I agree, and it did look like that was a little bit of a fake out there.
Yeah. I think everybody thought he was going to be carrying on, and he slapped the brakes and dove into the pits. Where's he going to come out? He's on his way out now. He's going to come out just in front, just behind. Where is
Leo is still standing in the middle of the
he's
pits.
In the pits. Yep.
He has a long pit stop again, so I'm curious what happens over there. But that means that Jeffrey Decker and Mike Bowers are really the guys to look at, because I do think that Leo made a small mistake again in that pit stop. We know that he's new to this factor. We know that he's fast. But this race, the Sunday Night Skippy, is way more than just doing fast laps. And this tactic is really working well for Jeffrey Decker and Mike Bowers. Currently a 5.7 lead on Paul Butler. And Max behind that. We have Adam Wright, also worked his way up again. Look at that.
Yes. As Leo comes out behind Rich Butler.
Yeah, and look at Scott Bell's number 6th position. I know he hasn't pitted yet, but looks like he found his groove.
Absolutely.
Joshua Dancy right behind him.
Yep, and the front group are both pitting, so both Jeffrey and Mike are in the pits now. So let's see where they're going to come out. Yep. See if they have a better pit stop than Leo did.
Oh, look how Mike Bowers is trying to gain a little bit more time. This is going to be very nice, but you see Adam Wright. Oh, and who was that before Adam Wright?
Yeah, Paul Batchelor, Max DiGiacomo, Adam
Max
Wright,
was making a big move over there.
Yeah, Joshua Dancy, Gurkan Demir, really everyone's coming into the pits.
It's got to the point where it's like they haven't got a choice now, right? They have to pit.
Leo's coming now on the front straight. And Jeffrey Decker still hasn't been released. He's just been released.
Just released. Where is he going to come out?
Boy, this is going to be close. And it looks like Jeffrey's coming out ahead of Leo.
He's passing Mike Bowers.
The road, and yes, Mike's behind Leo. Leo's behind Jeffrey. So as Matt, Steve, Jason, Aaron all do their pit stops, that will recycle Jeffrey, Leo, and Mike back to the front.
But boy, they have really created a gap to Paul Batchelor now.
Yeah.
And in fact, that gap.
Guys, before you go any further, I do want to mention Matt Zepka on position number 1. Have we ever seen that before? I'm not sure, but Matt is driving on the first position.
This is awesome. And so this is one thing for the viewers who don't know. In the scoring system, you do get a bonus point for leading a lap. And then, if the race goes, let's say 35 laps, then 35 divided by 5 is 7. And so you get an extra bonus point for leading every 7 laps. And so this is a great thing, points-wise, for Matt Shupka.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Steven Durr and Jason Berkheimer, Aaron Lay, all going into the pit were our top 5. And that means we're going back to our regular top 5. Jeffrey Decker, Leo Oktarov, Mike Bowers, and Paul Buckler.
Yep. Anyway, what I was about to say before you pointed out Matt Shupka being in the lead here is that Jeffrey Decker, Leo Oktarov, and Mike Bowers did seem to pick up a considerable amount of time on P4, and in fact they, I believe, have something approaching a 10-second lead now over P4, so their pit stops really seem to work well for them.
Yeah, and
Paul
it's
go ahead.
Yeah, we see Michael McLeod leading that little pack. It's funny to see that they came back. I'm curious, they're not done yet. We see Adam right, Max, Pete Notwell right behind there. Is he going to follow up on that? Is he going to hold this number 5 position?
I hate to interrupt, but Leo had gone side by side with Jeffrey Decker and was in the lead for a bit, but Jeffrey has done an over-under in turn 8 and turn 9 and has regained his lead. But boy, that's a battle.
Yeah, and that means that Mike Bowers is completely back into over there as well.
Yeah.
He can... we see Jeffrey Decker going a little bit wide. I was thinking that when you were talking about Leo in his qualification lap, what you do see is those guys are really taking every little bit of the exit and every little bit of the entry. I think that's where the difference comes in being quick in these cars.
Yeah, being smooth and getting the power down when you need to.
And they're doing it consistently, lap after lap. Yep.
And it's a lot. It's a lot of concentration. And if you're using any of these the more modern wheels, you're dealing with force feedback and all the rest of it. So it's effort,
Yep.
As Mike Bowers sets another fastest lap of 1:37.553.
That battling between Jeffrey Decker and Leo Ovcharov, though, is making it possible for Paul Batchelor in P4 to make up some ground. So now he's less than 8 seconds behind, 7.6 seconds behind.
Yeah, we've seen that everybody has taken a pit stop, while we do see that Leo is taking it inside. And Leo does make that move stick. I don't think that's anything wrong. Jeffrey knows that Leo is very quick. But you need to be more than quick. We've seen the pit stops. So
yeah, and if Jeffrey's smart, I mean, you don't necessarily want to be the leader all the time, right? I mean, if you can save fuel, they've got another pit stop to do. The more fuel he saves, the shorter his pit stop's going to be. If Leo wants to make the hole, then let him make the hole.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that means that Leo has not only won pole, he is now still in that first position. And that's maybe a nice segue for today, because today is a special day for Leo. Leo is actually his birthday. So let's see if he can actually win on his birthday. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Have you ever done that, Ian?
I have not. No. It'd be fun to do, though. Of course, I'd love to have the opportunity. Maybe everybody will just let me win on my birthday. They'll stop at the line and allow me to pass them to win.
But can you then please stop crashing?
I'm seeing we have a question on the Twitch stream about who hasn't pitted, but at this point, everyone has made their first pit stop. Looks like Spencer Clark has spun in turn 14. Looks like his car is okay, but he had to let traffic pass.
Yeah.
We're looking at it right now. On that entry already, and look at how good it is in holding his brakes, because that's why Rusty could hold his car.
Yeah.
Bell's now in 11th place. He just dropped 2 positions He's up 2 positions. He was up 3, so he's dropped 1. But he's sitting right behind Joshua Dancy and Jack Moffat in a little group of 3 as they're sort of working their way. And I have a feeling that Scott can probably put a move on there, especially if his cheering section just make a bit more noise for him. As he pops out to have a look at the back of Joshua Dancy's car, tucks back in behind him.
Yeah, I do want. Yeah, I do want to mention. Yeah, I know that you're going to say Jeffrey Decker and Leo Oktarov because they're still in a battle, and it looks like Mike Bowers is really just the babysitter over here, is waiting till they are finished with fighting.
As Jeffrey Decker takes over the lead.
It's eerie how you read my mind.
Yeah, and I know. And look at this. Leo is going on that inside line. This is what we want to see. And Jeffrey knows that he needs to give it over here. Tries to go in the inside line.
As the inside second turn, that's the thing, you see. So he was able to keep that position.
Yeah, look at this. Jeffrey is
better exit, so
he's going back for that
the
inside.
long way and then taking the inside line after the parabolica. Yep, there you go. It takes the position back again. And as you say, Mike Bowers is just sitting there going, "Keep fighting, boys."
Yeah, and Paul Buckler is now past Michael McLeod, and Max is really close behind there. This is also not done, and of course we have Adam Wright. Adam Wright, it's a fun fact. He run 3 races till today, and he won 2 of them in the public races, and the other one he was second. So he has a lot of experience in here.
Hey, you know, I'm looking at this really tight battle for P18. Right now, Jeff Torbeck is sitting in P18, but just right on his gearbox is Alan Paris, and then Matt Shepka behind the 2 of them. And, you know, we're seeing these groups of 3 where we have 2 people just battling like crazy, and then the 3rd person just waiting and watching for an opportunity to get in.
And I think we should mention, is it Matt's paint job, which is really quite spectacular looking there.
Well, it looks a lot like the one from Jake, if I'm honest.
Yep. Well, in fact, this gets back to the teams. They have formed a team, and in fact, I can look up the name of their team here. It's out of the 15 teams.
Attrition Racing.
And guys, we're again back in the fight with Leo and Jeffrey, and Jeffrey and Leo know what to do in this corner. Overtake. And look, Mike Bowers is not even trying. He's just, okay, you guys go ahead.
Right. Well, we're now 19 minutes remaining in this race, and so there's still plenty of time. And so you get the feeling that Mike Bowers is being smart, being patient like that.
Yeah, although, I mean, he has got 2 cars to pass, and as we had said earlier, Hockenheim is not an easy place to pass anyone. Yep. So he'll probably want to pass, he doesn't want to wait till the last lap. You know, maybe the last 2, 3 laps. Yep. Maybe even 4 is where he needs to put his move on to get himself up through that position into first place.
Yep. But Ian, would you rather be chasing Leo Oktarov and Jeffrey Decker, or be chased by them?
I think I'd prefer to be chasing them. Because I mean, don't forget, we've still got another pit stop to go. Yep. So it gives me a bit more choice, right? I can decide to go when I want to go, or I can be watching them and go when they go, right?
Right.
Yep. So I have that choice. I'm sure they'll all be watching out for Leo, again, like trying to fake them out like he did
And here he goes. We see Michael McLeod taking a move into Paul Buckler.
Yes.
Really nice on that inside. And then Paul Buckler can't defend that. And you do see that Max also immediately had a quick look over there.
Yep. And here's the thing, you know, that turn 2 exit is so important. And so we're seeing now Paul really getting a better run down this shortened parabolica curve.
As Jeffrey takes over the lead again.
There's so much action.
I know. Quite amazing.
Well, these guys are going to be tired.
A lot of concentration. You really have to be keeping your head on, and you cannot be distracted for a second if you're racing.
Looking,
I'm not sure, guys. Do we have another pit stop, or is this just one pit stop?
No, there should be another one. It's a 45-minute.
Yep. And the pit window would be open for these drivers already, and so we could see that at any time. I was just looking at the battle for P12. Currently, Gurkan Demir is in P12, but he's got Sean Ross, David Pickram, Chris Herrera, J.R. Hoops, Benjamin Harris on his tail. J.R. Hoops not too far behind there.
Racing an old Benson and Hedges colours on his car. As someone's blown their engine. Who is that? Someone has blown their engine. They are smoking coming down the front straight. He must have dropped the wrong gear. He's dropping back. Who is that? Dave Pickram? Who was it?
Dave Pickram, I think you're right. Looks like...
Yeah, he blew his engine.
Must have been bad downshift. Boy, that is terrible luck. It's never happened to me in the Skip Barber car, although I've seen it happen to others. In fact, Pim, I remember one race we were in, you blew an engine.
Oh yeah, don't worry. Don't start talking about my mistakes. That's why I ended up here in the broadcast booth. I was a lot safer up here than on track.
I blew an engine in where was it? In Holland when we were running Zandvoort.
Oh, I hope that one is coming back next season, because this is the third time that we're actually up here in this track. So we should see some new tracks coming up. I'm actually looking. We see Carl Dronke in a nice fight over here with Alan Paris and Jeff Torbeck. Did you know that?
And Carl goes way wide. Turn 10. Yep. Overcooked it a little bit, but no damage to his car, and so he's back on.
Yeah, I do.
Leo's in the pits. Paul Batcher's in the pits.
Michael McLeod is in the pit. Jack Moffat is in the pits. Yeah. Who is not in the pit?
So Jeffrey and Mike Bowers did not pit. Although they where are they? Yeah, Jeffrey and Mike Bowers continue to race. As Chris Herrera now gets the fastest lap of the race so far, 1:37.408.
That looked like a faster pit stop this time for Leo Ovtcharov, and so we'll have to see how that works out as it goes around. He is coming out in traffic, although he has a little bit of clear track in front of him, but it won't take him long to make up that gap to the next car, and so we'll
P18.
Yep.
Well, it's going to be interesting. He's got Carl Reed ahead of him. Carl's pretty quick, and then Carl Dronke, who's also pretty swift. But then, of course, nearly all of those guys still need to pit.
Yes.
So we do see in the chat that we have Carter Stickney from our last race is actually predicting that Mike Bowers will pass Jeffrey Decker in the pit stop. I'm curious, that won't be long before we can see that, because we do see Jeffrey Decker coming in, and we don't see Mike Bowers is taking the lead over here. Yeah. Interesting.
Very interesting. And Carter Stickney's prediction, again, Mike has been benefiting from running in the draft all race, and so it could save him a second or two in the pits.
It could do. If he gets another lap in, everybody else is pitted on lap 9, and 9 laps after their first pit stop.
Guys, how is Jeffrey Decker doing? Because we do see that Leo is now coming over the line. Is Jeffrey Decker already out, or is he still in? It looks like he's just coming out.
In the pit exit. And it looks like he's going to maintain his lead over Leo.
He comes out just in front of Leo and behind Kyle Reed.
Very interesting.
Let's see what Mike Bowers is doing. He must be getting ready to pit as he comes up. And he is out on his own right now. Just finishing sector 2, going into sector 3.
We're hitting 12 minutes remaining in the race.
Now is he going to pit this lap, or does he have another lap left in the car?
No, he's gonna pit. He needs to pit. And I hope he's not missing anything and he can continue the fight with the other guys.
He's moving into the pits. Here we go. Slamming on the brakes so he doesn't get the pit speeding penalty. And trundling down the pit lane at 31 kilometers an hour, 35 kilometers an hour. Feels
We see Max coming in as well, and Adam Wright is going to take the lead over here, because he's still running on his own right now.
Joshua Dancy is in the pits.
Benjamin Harris.
And so just to preempt the questions from the stream, you know, we still...
Mike Bowers is heading out. He's heading out. Where's he going to come out? He is back on track.
He's in front of them. He's in front of them, but they're a lot quicker. Look at this.
Is he going to be? Yes, he is. He's going to be on the inside going.
He's not going to make that.
Jeffrey gets past him, but
Oh!
And Mike Bowers. The wheel to wheel. If he can hold it behind Jeffrey, he's going to get a little bit of a tow from Jeffrey, but he's just a little bit slow as he tucks in behind Leo.
So status quo after those pit stops.
Well, now this is where Mike needs to get his elbows out and take those positions and get himself up into the front. He needs to be in P2 if he wants to have any chance of winning this race.
So Adam Wright is in the lead, but Adam is now the only driver on track who has not made his second fuel stop. And so we would expect Adam to be coming in most likely this time around. And indeed, he's just entered the pit lane.
There we go.
And that means that everybody has done 2 pit stops.
Yes. Oh, it looks like Carl Dronke has had an issue in the turn 6 hairpin.
And Chris Herrera has jumped to the pits.
Wonder if there was an incident of some sort there.
Yeah, there was an incident with Nate Strules. And there were some people going a little bit slow, and then we got a little crash over there, yeah. And then it looks like the skips are married. They're stuck to each other.
Yeah.
He passed Scott Bell and then lost it, and Scott just avoided being hit by Chris Herrera in the I don't know what you call it, horseshoe bend, and then he towed, which was kind of bizarre. But there you go.
Look at this. The Scott Bell's really pushing his car there to the limit. He's driving on his own on the moment. Needs to make a little bit more speed, and he can actually get that top 10 from Jos Dancy and Gurken de Meer, who's now running 9th. And what about Michael McLeod here, number 8th position?
Yeah.
Oh, and we see Max making a move on Adam. Really nicely done. Those guys, I'm really impressed with their racing skills.
Leo is making a move on Jeffrey Decker, and they're running too wide. And Mike Bowers is still there, right on the back of them.
This is the first time that Mike Bowers is now also moving along. Here, look at this. Now he's going in there.
And Leo is closing the door on him.
Yeah, now...
But he's got the inside line. And is he going to get it? He's going to be on the outside of that corner. No! Can you do the over-under? Maybe he can.
This is just what we were talking about pre-race. You know, that turn 11 hairpin, you would not think that cars could go at speed like that side by side. But there you go. They just showed us.
Yeah. As they do another lap, 37 minutes done. 45 minutes total.
And we're just looking at the result, what exactly happened. It was Chris Herrera who made a small crash. And you're right, Scott Bell was nicely done over there.
Looked like Leo just made a pass on the inside of turn 2, and so he's now leading Jeffrey Decker. Boy, it is not going to be possible to predict who's going to win out of these 3.
Scott's working up, getting closer now to the back of Josh Dancy. It's picked up a little bit and closed that gap down. It's now 0.3. Josh, sorry, so it's 2 seconds back. Josh is 0.3 behind Gurk and Demir.
Boy, what a race Gurk Demir is having. He's up 15 spots, running P9 right now.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
Jonathan Dockery, though. Where's Jonathan? He's up 9.
Yep. And Jonathan would be up even higher. He's having a great drive, but remember he had a drive-through penalty to start the race.
That's right, yeah. Kyle Reed is up 15 spots to P19.
Yeah, so a few of these drivers having spectacular drives, almost like, you know, Max Verstappen type drives.
Oh, yeah, today's that was one heck of a Formula One race today. I'd say for any of you guys who haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to spoil it, but absolutely, it is one race that is totally worth watching.
Although it was gut-wrenching also.
It was. The person I wanted to win didn't.
Yeah, if you don't like to feel sad, maybe
Guys,
don't
let's have a look at the front, because as exciting our Formula One race was, here in the front, I don't know who's going to win. Is it going to be Leo? Is it going to be Jeffrey Decker or Mike Bowers?
Jeffrey pops out to have a look beside Leo and takes that inside move. And Mike Bowers is going to see if he can follow him through, pushing Leo wide.
Yes.
Mike Bowers holding the inside.
But now
Trying to get up into P2. Leo.
Oh!
On the bump. They're both okay. Mike Bowers backs out a little bit.
Wow.
Whoa.
But
Leo had his elbows out, mate.
5 minutes remaining.
5 minutes to
So
go.
that probably means 3 more laps after they cross the start-finish line here.
They're turning at 137, so yeah, about that.
Boy, and you know, while our eyes are riveted on these top 3, you know, the battle for P4 with Max DiGiacomo, Adam Wright, Peter Nodwell, Paul Batchelor, that is also just another incredible battle.
Yeah, and Steve Durr and Matt Rupetska are fighting away. Jeff Torbeck trying to catch up with them. Kyle Reed dropped back a little bit, although he's up 15 spots. Brian Perez. Jason.
Well, Brian Perez is holding on P20, and he's got Jason Berkheimer, Carl Drunke, and Michael Howenick just hounding him. And
Oh, guys, but have you seen that latest video of Brian Perez? He was doing this right over here, actually. He was trying to pass someone, didn't do it, and they both crashed right in front of him. And he was like, I knew that this was going to happen. Awesome video. I like his video editing skills.
Well,
But he's holding his lap over there.
Yeah, that battle for P20, you know, Brian Perez is holding in P20. That's a super tight battle, and you know, you would think, you know, like Carl Drunke and Michael Howenick probably have some pace there. But you know,
Again, it's Hockenheim. It's not an easy track to pass. You know, you have to. He missed his braking point, I think. Who was that?
That was Carl who nearly missed it, but yeah, he's well enough. He's well experienced. Carl, do you know that Carl actually driven 116 games over races with SNS? Guess how many he won?
No idea.
16 races.
What? Chris Herrera again lost it. Oh no, that's an old one. That's an old one. Ignore me. My screen.
All right, let's go back to the front, because we do see that Mike Bowers is now really getting into the fight and is going really hard. Where he was waiting in the beginning, he's now really making his move, but it's just not enough for him against Leo and Jeffrey Decker.
He looks to the inside. Leo closes the door on him.
And I really see what some of the Formula One drivers complain about with that turn 2, you know, because it's such an inviting passing zone, but you can't make it stick because the exit is so important there.
Yeah, and as Mike tries again to get past Leo.
Oh, they touch. Jeffrey Decker. And Mike
Bowers
Bowers
got
is the
pushed
winner of that
wide.
one. Oh,
Oh, they
touches
touch
again.
Leo has
Wait,
got
is
his
this-
elbows out.
Is this NASCAR Cup racing or
Ah!
what's going on
Oh
here?
my God, Mike Bowers is up in a second. Jeffrey is probably not happy about that at all.
No, I can't imagine how that sounds. I do know that in Leo's car, they're now just singing, "It's my birthday, we're gonna party," because he is going, man.
Yeah,
Well,
as he
this
comes
is,
up
I believe,
43.
they're going to get the white flag here, I believe, when they cross the start-finish line.
And we have to keep an eye out for that. Mike Bowers is not letting him go. Jeffrey Decker is like wanting to get that position back. What's the flagman's flame? The white flag has flown. So this is the final lap of the race.
Oh boy.
This is it. This is
Yeah, guys,
it.
and it's not done yet on the back as well. We see Adam
Mike
Wright.
Bowers pulls out on the inside going down into turn 2.
And
Can he
Leo,
make it stick? He goes a little bit wide. Jeffrey's right behind. He
But,
seems to let Mike Bowers gets the first position. Can he hold on to it? No, I don't think he can. Although he's on the inside, but Jeffrey then takes the inside on Mike Bowers.
both
Here we
Leo
go.
and
Under
Jeffrey,
braking. Oh my gosh.
yeah, both Leo and Jeffrey got better exits at the turn 2. And
3 wide.
Yep.
Oh, heartbreak. Heartbreak for Mike. Back down into P3.
Yeah,
Briefly leading the race.
yeah, that turn 2 pass is
Hard to
strategically.
make it stick.
Boy, yep. And so now this is maybe the last best place to pass right here, turn 11.
Mike is trying, but I think he's you got to compromise your either your entry or your exit,
Yeah.
and it's just not giving you the speed you need as
Boy,
they
yeah.
come piling down to the line. Leo in lead, Jeffrey's pulled wide. Leo wins it, Jeffrey Decker for second, Mike Bowers third, Adam Wright up 3 more. Adam Wright, no he's not, where he started, sorry, in 4th, Peter Nodwell 5th, Michael McLeod 6th, Max de Croquemont 7th, Gurkham doing a great race from Gurkham 8th, Josh Dancy 9th, Jack Moffat looks like he's going to be coming in P10, JR Hoops in 11th, Steve Dewar coming in 12th, Alan Paris 13, Matt Rapetska 14, Carl Reed 15, Jeff Torbach 16, Benjamin Harris 17, and on and on. What happened to our friend I don't even see him. Huh.
Who is our friend that you're talking about?
Well, great drives. I mean, boy, what just nail-biting action, just up and down the field, but especially Leo Ovtcharov, our race winner, Jeffrey Decker, Mike Bowers. And then, you know, when you look back in the field, Gurkan Demir finishing P8, up 16 spots from where he started. Kyle Reed finishing P15, up 19 spots. Jeff Torbeck up 10 spots, finishing P16. Jonathan Dockery, you know, he had a drive-through penalty. He had to really essentially start from the very back, finishing P24, up 12 spots. Great
Yeah.
drive.
That was an awesome race. That was an awesome race.
Our hard charger of the day is Kyle Reed, up 19 spots, finishing
Wow,
P15.
that's impressive.
All right, guys. That was a really, really nice race. I enjoyed it a lot. Do we have already some winners in the booth?
Yeah, we have Max DiGiacomo in the booth. Should we invite him in?
Of course we invite him in. I want to hear that story. If I don't have to say his last name, I'm fine.
Max, welcome to the broadcast booth. Great drive. Congratulations. I think you finished, what, P7? Max, I think if you can hear us, you're muted.
Hang on 1 second. Let's make sure we. There we go. Max, can you hear us now?
Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it was a hectic race. I ran out of gas. I was behind Adam in 5th, and I ran out of gas, and two guys got the slip on me.
So Max, that just looks so intense. Like that there was never any moment to relax or anything. How was it for you?
Yeah, I qualified 3rd, so I found myself with the big boys, and I think I was like really stressed. I was like, they ate me up. I fell back to the 8th position, then I climbed myself back a little bit. But yeah, it was really stressful. There wasn't a second. There was always something happening.
Yeah, it's tough when you're up the front and you've got to perform, and and you feel like there's so much pressure on you, and it's really weird. I mean, this is a thing we do for fun on a weekend, but you still really feel that tension.
Oh yeah, for sure. I guess the guys that are always up front, they get used to it, right? But when you're not there often, you just don't want to screw up,
I'm guessing even the guys up front today, didn't feel used to it either.
No, I think that that was such a close race, and I think the lead changed so many times that they were probably, if you had a stress monitor on them, you would have probably seen some interesting numbers coming out of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was a hectic race, very hectic race.
Did you enjoy the race?
I loved it. That was really
Yes.
it was great. It was a lot of fun. Just wanted to say
Good.
thanks to you guys for the broadcast. Thanks to the league.
Glad you enjoyed it, my friend. And what do you think about our next race? How does that track suit you?
Is it Road Atlanta? I think.
I think that's the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be good. I mean, I think everybody's used to that track. Like, it's not a new track at all. So.
Road America is next. Sorry.
Road America. Yeah, that's it. That's a pretty good one too.
Yeah.
But we do have some more people here in the booth. I want to hear from Mike Bowers. Mike, how was your race?
Let's bring him into the broadcast booth.
Take care, boys. Take care.
Take it easy, my friend.
Congrats, great drive.
Oh, he's not in yet.
Yeah, so
No, he's here. Mike, can you hear us? Oh, wait, Mike's gone again.
Mic check. Mike, how was your race? Being on that 3rd position, I'm really curious about it.
Well, I was kind of snoozing for a long time. I was using 5th gear a lot. I made a sandwich. I watched a video.
and then after like 35 minutes, you thought, I had enough of this. I'm gonna start fighting.
I answered 2 emails and decided, well, we better go. And we went.
Good Lord.
So Mike, we saw, right at the end there, you made that pass for the lead in going into turn 2, but the problem with turn 2, it looked like you end up having to compromise your exit so much to make that pass that it's just hard to make that stick. Is that what was going through your mind when you did that?
I was just trying to add a little chaos, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
I knew that wouldn't stick, but I actually had made the pass that I wanted to make after, heck, I don't know what the turn numbers are. I think it's 6, the left-hander with the big sausage on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that was the pass I wanted to make and hold that outside down to the next corner. But when I went through there, I got a little body check off of Leo, and he kind of ended my strategy, the jerk. I mean, come on.
I'm sorry. Leo had his elbows out, mate. He had his elbows out.
Elbows? Holy cow, we had elbows, couple legs. I mean, my goodness. I didn't know Leo's supposed to be a carter. He's the biggest carter I've ever seen.
We did have a little comment in the broadcast watching the 3 of you right at the end there. We were wondering if we made a mistake and tuned into some NASCAR Cup racing instead of our Formula 2000.
Listen, I haven't been hip checked that hard in a while, and I play hockey, so I'm glad we all drove away, but it was good fun stuff, man. It was good fun stuff.
That's what you call wheel-to-wheel racing, my friend.
Yeah, yeah. Quite literally. We were
literally
on wheel
was.
racing.
Yeah, there you go. It was fun to watch you guys. I imagine it must have been quite tense at times, sitting up there in the front.
I hear about these guys sweating all the time at the end of the race, and that never happens to me. You know, it doesn't do that, but this one did.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna need a nice cold shower after this guy.
Well,
So-
Mike, it did look kind of relaxing, like, you know, Mike was sort of lurking, waiting for Leo and Jeffrey to screw up. But Leo and Jeffrey, the two of you, you didn't give each other even a second to relax. It didn't look like.
Yeah, there was a little while where I decided in the first stint just to kind of hang out behind Leo and try to just get my head right for what was definitely to come in the second and third stints. And those two stints did not disappoint, that's for sure.
Now, we also noted that that Leo dived into the pits for his first refueling stop, and Jeffrey, you and Mike kept going. Did he catch you out? Because it looked like he kind of faked you on that one.
No, I was kind of expecting maybe that he would go early. If he didn't, I think I was actually going to go on that lap. So I was kind of keeping an eye on him just to have. I wanted some clear space ahead of me. And if he stayed out and I decided to stay out, I was going to go for the pass there, whether or not I made it. But I like having some clear air in front of me on the entry. So.
So
I was pretty
Leo,
happy
how
to
was
stay out.
Leo? How was that for you? You're in here as well. Congratulations! Also with your birthday, you got your pole, you got your win, you got your birthday. What do you need more?
Sweet 16.
Birthday.
Happy birthday, Leo. I knew you got dragged out for your birthday this week, but I didn't know what day it was. So happy birthday, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it was yesterday, but still, like it was a good birthday present to myself. Hard fought, for sure. But what I would have liked is a shower as well.
Well, you deserved that one. Sorry, Jeffrey, you want to say something?
No. Peter, I just wanted to say, Leo, when we were watching, your first pit stop looked to the three of us in the broadcast booth, looked a little slow. Was there an issue in your first pit stop, or did everything go as you expected?
Well, I didn't get a penalty, so that's a win for me automatically. But the other thing was that there was a car going into the pits pretty slow, so I couldn't really judge when I should have initiated my braking phase. So I decided to do it much earlier than I anticipated, and that's why I got in there quite slower than I thought I would.
That explains it. And you know, I think ultimately the pit stops didn't make much of a difference for the battles that the three of you were having, but you know, but it definitely, you know, had us just wondering what happened on that one.
Yeah, that's that's what happened, unfortunately. It could have been better, but that's what happened.
Very
So, Leo,
very
did you-
interesting. Sorry, Mike.
You decided to get good at pit stops when I finally get to join the group. Thanks a lot.
Could have been better, buddy. Hopefully next time will be better.
Yeah, I knew we weren't going to jump each other in the pits because that second turn is just too far away from pit exit, and you're going so fast out of turn one. I was like, I had a huge lead. I'm like, yep, this isn't enough.
Well, guys,
So,
I want to
I'm
thank
sorry,
you guys. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I you know, because we asked Mike about this, but you know, I was reading up some of the interviews with Formula One, you know, Grand Prix drivers about this track who complain about turn two, and it just seemed to be such a place for action where you guys were passing each other going to turn two, but having a hard time making those passes stick on the exit of turn two. You know, how did that feel for you guys? You know, it just seemed like a prime passing zone for all three of you.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. Like, it's a place where you're essentially like just jockeying for position there for the run down the straight, right? So like, it's fun to try to figure out how you can set up best to get the better run.
Yeah,
but it's
we were
tough to
essentially
make it
filling each other out.
stick, right?
Yeah, it's super hard to make it stick, making a pass there, I think.
Yeah, because you just don't have that speed for the second phase of the overtake process.
Yeah, it makes it interesting when there are three, and you have to watch out for the third guy coming in and trying to judge where he is as well. So it's definitely head on a swivel kind of stuff.
Well, it was so awesome because on that last lap, Mike, passed both of you going into turn 2, and then you both, made a Mike Bauer sandwich basically on the way to the hairpin.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was like a Mike Bauer's bear hug,
Oh goodness! If you knew how I liked hugs so much, you would know how insulting that is.
And I'd just like to let you know that Gamer Sarah is saying happy birthday as well to you, Leo. So Sarah usually is a big supporter of
Scott Bell.
Scott Bell, that's right.
Yeah.
I was about to say for our league, but yeah, she's also she apparently also likes Scott Bell.
Yeah, actually, what we need to do is
I would hope
get her to come and race, and maybe she could beat Scott Bell. That would be fun.
That would be great.
Oh, why would you
that's
like?
super sweet.
Why do you want to do that to somebody? I mean, come on, Ian. Are you picking on Scott? Did he do something mean to you?
Absolutely. No, he's never done anything to me. He's never done anything to me,
That's
but
the nicest
I
guy.
just think it'd be an interesting shake-up if Gamer Sarah was like, over the top of Scott Bell and going like, yeah, baby, in the rear view mirror there, mate. You know what I mean?
Scott's
Well,
a
it's-
super good dude. I'm driving
Yeah.
his old steering wheel. See?
Oh, really?
Yeah, his base. I bought his base from him, so that's yeah. I've got
Yeah,
some
I-
Bell fortune.
I do like that in our league that we all take care of each other. I know Peter, your niece is also gonna race due to
Yep.
the fact that people are giving some equipment to her so that she can race. That's awesome, guys. I want to thank you very much for the race. It was really fun to see. Never a dull moment. I do think sometimes back on Chris and think, Chris Small, when are you coming back? Because we can't do all this, but you guys made it a lot of fun, and thank you for this race.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. You guys called me out on the broadcast for hanging out behind Leo too much in last season, okay? So I was trying to do my job and get you guys off my back and give him a hard time. So hopefully I did that and you guys will stop calling me out about being lazy or whatever.
Don't worry about that. We'll always say the truth, and yeah, that's what happens. So I'm not sure if we did it today. Please look at the broadcast and give us some feedback. We do have Yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, I took it personally, all right, guys?
Yeah.
Listen, I took it personally.
I see
Well,
that as
I mean-
I see that as a big compliment. I will tell you
Yeah.
honestly, if Jeffrey Decker is gonna listen to me, then I do something right. So thanks
There
very
you
much,
go.
Jeffrey.
And we spent the whole race going, now what's Mike's strategy? Is he just fuel saving and he's gonna, take them and he's gonna take a shorter pit stop and pass them in the pits? And what's his strategy? He's sitting there in third, and when's he gonna get in first? And he didn't. And
Well, I did for a second.
Well,
Come
you
on.
did actually. That's true. You got about
Yeah,
half
come
a
on.
lap, in first place.
I did my best to
it
make
was a
those two wreck
beautiful
each
lap.
other.
Mike,
He was almost successful.
Mike, I
Almost.
called you the
Almost.
Mike, I called you the babysitter of those two guys. How quietly you were sitting behind, but I was
That's
totally
right.
wrong in the last moments, because then the knife were out, and Leo and Jeffrey have seen you many different times. So I'm looking forward to Road Atlanta. I'm really curious what you guys bring over Road America. Hey, I want to go to Atlanta.
And
It's
Road
gonna be a
America's
happy
got
boy.
some interesting corners on it as well. So there's
I
going
think
to be
it'll
some
a bad
fun.
one. Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be
and it's going to be an interesting track to run for sure.
I think you'll see like a swap of positions 4 times throughout the lap because there's going to be so much drafting.
It's
Yeah.
a big long, and it's a lot longer lap too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we will have Carl Dronke, I think more in the front. We have Pete Mabrotten that we didn't see that much in this race. So it's going to be exciting. I hope it's going to be even more than just the 3 of you guys. I want to thank everybody for the listening in. I want to thank you guys for racing. And let's see each other next week. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll,
Congratulations, Leo. You did a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm calling you names, but you were awesome tonight.
Thank you,
I'm still-
bud. You
I'm
as
still
well.
calling you names.
And happy birthday.
Thank you
Yeah, man,
guys.
happy birthday. Really good win, man.
Thank you guys.